Hi there. Welcome to Bariatric Boss Bitch. My name is Tara, and today I'm going to talk to you about my journey and what led me down the path of considering bariatric surgery as a new lifestyle choice for me. So it all started when I was younger. I was always the chubby kid on the playground, unfortunately, and until I hit puberty, I was always overweight. And then my habits didn't help me at all throughout the rest of my life. So when I was 18, I got pregnant with my daughter, and I gained 90 pounds in 9 months. And I was eating everything wrong, right? I was 18/19. I didn't follow the diets you were supposed to for, pregnancy or take the vitamins I was supposed to. They made me sick. And that was an excuse, right? But they really did make me sick. And I was eating garlic bread, I was eating Taco Bell, I was eating fast food, fried foods, carbonated beverages, full sugar beverages, you name it, and that's what I was eating. I thought I was invincible at that point. Well, after I gave birth to my daughter, 3 months later, I got pregnant with my son. And during that time, I only gained about 30 pounds, which, isn't bad, but add 90 plus 30, and there you go. Unfortunately. So I was 20 years old and I was 250 pounds. And I joined Weight Watchers, and I hated going to those meetings. We sat in a room of like 100 people. We talked about how hungry we are, how many cravings we had. And, I heard stories of like, oh yeah, I starved myself all week so I could save up my points and just binge eat over the weekend. And it was great. And I'm down 2 pounds. And I'm like, oh, that's great for you. But also I'm trying to follow this in a good way. And my weight didn't budge, unfortunately. And so I ended up stopped going to Weight Watchers. I didn't feel supported. And it was a lot of pressure in a room with strangers trying to talk about, how you feel about food. But they weren't really giving us the tools to be healthy and be successful. It's just like, oh yeah, here's your points. Go ahead, spend them however you want, right? So, cut to, I moved to Michigan in about 2006, and my weight was holding pretty steady at about 250. So I found a place that did medically supervised diets. And this diet consisted of 900 calories a day, 4 shakes, 2 fiber drinks, and 1 teeny tiny snack bar. And that was the diet, right? And then 1 lean green meal. So 3 ounces of meat and a half cup to a cup of vegetables. So that was very stressful, but they also held you accountable. You had a food journal. You had to write in your food journal. You had to share your food journal with the nutritionist that you met with. And you met with the nutritionist 3 times a week to weigh in. If you were not coming in for those 3 days a week, you had to call them and tell them why. Or else you can be suspended from getting their service. Well, after a few months, it was very successful, very expensive, but very successful. I ended up dropping to about 180 pounds, and I felt okay. But on this diet, I was so hungry. And so to fill that hunger, I started drinking alcohol. And I wasn't supposed to, right? Did I tell the nutritionist that? No, I didn't. But it helped me keep my mind off of food, especially over the weekend when I'm hungry and things like that. So, in 2008, 2009 is when the market crashed and I couldn't do the weight loss program anymore. It was so cost prohibitive and time prohibitive, right? Because you had to go 3 times a week. And, I wasn't able to maintain my weight. I ended up eating carbs again, which is my favorite. I prefer carbs over sugar any day. You give me bread and butter and I'm in heaven. But I just fell back into those bad habits, and it was bad. So I started gaining weight slowly, right? It wasn't until about 2012 when I ended up going back to the medically supervised diet place. And again, went back to the 900 calories a day, went back to the 4 shakes, 1 snack bar, 1 lean green, 2 fiber drinks. And ended up losing almost 100 pounds at that point. I got up to 280. I was past the 250 mark that I had started with. So my weight loss is like this, up and then down again, right? And so after I decided to go back to the medical weight loss clinic, I asked them, is there something I can do to not feel so hungry? The last time I did this, I wanted to eat my arm off. It was so terrible. I hated that feeling, and I just never felt full. Even if I drank water, or even if I drank my shakes and my fiber drink and my meal, I never felt full. And so this time around, I'm like, okay, I'm going in prepared. I'm asking for something to help me with this hunger problem. And they gave me Adipex. So Adipex is an appetite suppressant. And one of the side effects is that it makes you very thirsty. So I was drinking a ton of water, which is great. I had a ton of energy, which is also one of the side effects. I mean, to the point where I wasn't sleeping. I was sleeping about maybe 4 hours a night. And I was exercising, I was running, I was doing yoga, I was doing a bunch of activities. I played softball, and it was fun. It was fun to be able to do those things and be able to, fit into nice, pretty clothes and shop at normal stores and stuff like that. But it was still hell on my body, just those 900 calories a day. So I ended up, I stopped going to the clinic, and it was a mistake, right? It was a mistake stopping going, but I did fall back into my old habits. I was drinking, I was eating carbs, I was drinking full sugared sodas again. I was not even remotely trying to eat healthfully. And that's something that I needed to figure out. So after we lived in Michigan, we moved to Alaska. And after we lived in Michigan, I didn't step on a scale until 2020. So when 2020 hit, right, COVID, and, working from home has been a challenge for so many. And the running joke that I was telling people, and I'll still tell it, but my walking consisted of me from my desk to the bathroom, from the bathroom to the kitchen, from the kitchen to my desk, and then repeat, which in some ways is true. I mean, there were weeks when I didn't even leave the house because COVID, social distancing, don't come to work, stay at home, all of those things. So naturally, of course, I gained weight. So in October of 2020, I ended up going to visit my mom in Florida, and I made the mistake of getting on her scale. I was 290 pounds. That was the heaviest I've ever been, and it was heartbreaking. I texted my husband. I was in tears. I said, "Babe, I made the biggest mistake getting on this scale." He texted me back, and he goes, "Mexico's nice this time of year." I'm like, "You're right, it is." And it may sound like an off-topic text, but I had already been researching bariatric surgery in Mexico because of the cost, and they're world leaders in this industry. And so I was already doing the research in earnest. So after that text, that was basically my permission to make the plan to have bariatric surgery in Mexico. And so I did. So in November of 2020, I saw a link for Renew Bariatrics. I clicked on it. I filled out the information. I sent it in. And one of their coordinators called me and said, "Hey, you qualify for this. Here's the cost. Here's what it's going to be. Here's how it looks," right? And she's like, "Are you ready to book now?" And I told her, "No, I'm not ready to book now." And at the time I was thinking, oh, it's December next month. Thanksgiving's coming up. I want to be able to have a nice Thanksgiving and a nice Christmas. And, in January, our daughter got married in Hawaii. And I'm like, okay, I can wait until after that. Well, started doing some research about the recovery time. and all of that. So I messaged the coordinator the next day with 2 words. It said, "I'm ready." So I got a phone call from her. We talked about scheduling before Christmas and how I had to start my 4-week pre-op diet immediately. Like, okay, I can do this. And so it was a life-changing moment for me because I did the research. I knew what I needed to do. I did the research behind the pre-op diet and understood what post-op would look like. And it's been the best decision that I've ever made for myself. And I'm so glad to have had a really supportive spouse in this, and my kids have been wonderful with it. They've been super supportive, which I'm so grateful for. And I know that some people aren't always in that situation. Well, let me tell you, I'll support you. I'll cheer you on. I will be your biggest advocate. And I want to hear your story. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you made the decision to have bariatric surgery, or even if you're on the fence about it, let's talk. I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.